What's happening, man? Welcome to the Second Chance Success podcast where we interview dope people doing dope things that's been doing it for a while, man. Listen, today is probably going to be the funnest interview I've ever done because we got a really, really fun and like strong, powerful guest. We have Deontay Demper on the line, man. Deontay Demper, what it look like, what it do. Tell us a little bit about yourself to do an intro, man.
There's so much to say.
Yeah.
There's so much to say, but all I can just say is I'm a community organizer.
Come on.
I'm a community builder. Hell, and I'm just me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if you know me, put show up in the dictionary. That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh, show up in the
show up.
Show up in the dictionary.
Right.
Yeah.
And just happy to be here, man.
Come
the
on.
platform you created, who you are, it is like it's real, right? This is like you're a real ass person.
Thank you.
And I've watched your growth over the past couple of years, and it is amazing. So I'm honored to be a guest.
No, listen, man, I appreciate it, bro. Like you done reached out at times in my darkest times. You feel what I'm saying? You've always been there. You're always tapping in, man. It be quick moments. You like, hey, look, I got I need you got this. I got you. Right. And I'm like, damn, all right, cool. Hey, I guess bro said I'm gonna do this now. Like,
But the tap ins be real, right?
Real talk.
We move around in community so many times, and I'm not tapping in with you because you're working on a grant.
Right.
I'm not tapping in with you because you know somebody that I know and all of that. It's always just been like, hey, how you doing?
Yep.
I see you doing the videos. I see you with the book. I see you with all those things, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Come on.
How are you doing?
Come on.
How's your daughter doing?
Come on.
How was the trip? You
Come
got
on.
some rest.
Yes.
Good, right? Because it's good to check in because we're out here. We're doing this stuff on a daily, hourly task, right? And there's so much that gets pulled from a lot of folks. And it's always important to just tap in. Like, are you good? Right?
Because nobody really does that.
Nobody does
You're
that.
Right.
They do it.
Yeah.
They'll do it when they want some shit.
Yeah.
How you doing? I see you was just down that day.
Yeah.
But I'm working on a community event. And I want to know if you know this person, that person.
Yep.
That is the most annoying shit.
Right.
At times.
Right. No,
it's like, and don't get it twisted. I'm gonna still give my all and everything. But that shit is just like, that ain't no tap in.
No.
That's a jump in for you.
Right.
That's a jump in for you. And then it's like, I don't know. Just know that we see you.
Yeah. We see you. You're that. We see you. We know what's going on. We ain't stupid over here.
Right.
Man. Listen, look, I always, and I always wanted to know. But first of all, how did we meet?
I can think of the day we met. Do you know?
No, tell me.
It was during the pandemic.
Okay.
Right. Genesee Park.
I was
at Genesee Park. You were working for Alive and Free.
Alive and Free.
And there was just a tap in of just like your organization. And I was there.
Hold on. Okay, keep going.
And I was there. And I remember you saying we were introducing ourselves, and he's like, like when people's names sound similar, it's kind of like, like who's this brother? It's like, we got the same name. And I was like, we got the same name, nigga, but but I remember that because like everybody that's worked at Alive and Free is amazing, but we were tapping in because it was just like, I think it was more so of like what we can do in community. And I remember kind of going through something. Y'all brothers didn't know me. And I was like, look, I'm going through this, and that. But I still want to be, I'm still here because I'm supposed to be.
Yep. And you was working for Anu. Yep. You was working for Anu. We was popping about that, about getting young people jobs and everything.
And that's how we were tapping in because we were trying to figure out during the pandemic, how can we get these youth engaged? What can we do to navigate? So shout out to Marvin because he did not play about me making sure that them kids tapped in. We got probably like six kids tapped in with apprenticeship.
Come on.
Post-pandemic. So shout out to y'all.
That was boss, bro. You know what's crazy? Me and Marv, that's my guy. It's like now after we started pro saying everything, he's still like a big brother now. You know what I mean? I be harassing him, talking shit to him, and everything. I be joking with him and everything, man. I love Marv. Marv ass, bro. Our interview, we interviewed, and then he called me like, "Tid, I'm on the way home from the casino." He's a real one though. He calls me. It's like 11. He's like, "Bro, you ready to start this work? You really ready?" And I'm like, "Bro, so loud." I'm trying to tell the homie, "Hey, Supervisor,
Right.
like, you know, I'm fresh out and everything. I'm like,
Right.
I'm like, bro, yeah. He's all right, man. We talked for like an hour, and I'm like, nigga, I'm trying to
Yeah.
go to them. But he kept it solid, bro.
Yeah,
and
and Marv is a solid brother. So I do want to give that brother all his flowers.
Yeah. Big shout out to Marvin Marshall, man. Much love to you, man. And I remember one thing too. You had like 3 numbers, bro.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bro, I got hella numbers for you, bro.
Yeah, absolutly.
Like,
sometimes you just gotta change it. You gotta change it up.
Like,
You know,
hey.
right? You know, you think I'm here, but I'm there. But I had 3 numbers. Yeah, I did have 3 numbers.
But it was dope though, like because you answered every one of them, and showed up.
I used to work at a call center, so I'm used to hello, hold on.
Hey, hold on,
right.
Hold on, wait. So wait, okay, now because we discussed you're from Florida originally.
No, I'm from I'm from the south end of Seattle.
Okay, tell me the startup. Okay,
I grew up here in the south end of Seattle. Okay. I'm the 3rd of 6. I have a twin brother. Most people don't.
I didn't know that till you said that on the phone.
Yeah. Most people don't know that, but you know, I grew up here in Seattle, and my family has strong roots here. My dad, especially, he's done 30 years Blue Street towing. Been towing for 30 years in the community. Gotta give out that special shout out.
Come on.
You know, a lot of my life, especially when it comes to my family, my grandmother, who I stayed the majority of the time with, were always people of service. My grandma is a lot of the reason why I do the work that I do. My grandma was a foster home developer for 34 years. So I watched her navigate that and then navigate community people in church. Right. And it was always, my grandma never complained. She never wavered from her undying love and support to community. And my grandmother is my first love. When, you know what I mean? Like that gentle love, that making me feel seen love. So a lot of how I learned how to love was how she loved me. Right. So in navigate and she was my protector as well too, right? Because I grew up a little different, you know. And this is not and this is a special shout out to community people that are growing up now and living their truths. But 20 years ago, that's not how shit was.
No,
right?
Not at all. Yeah. No.
Like you had to really fight for it. You can walk into a room and be called the F word and you just gotta take it. Or you just got to take it. But of course, I wasn't that type of person.
You got to run it.
Yeah, you got to run it, right?
You got to
run it. But then also one of the things too was like I had to learn how to be quick with the comebacks, right? And affirm for myself. It wasn't like you wasn't about to sit there and dog on me. I'm about to dog on you.
Yeah, that part.
But all in all, I learned how to affirm for myself growing up in the south end of Seattle, and it was not the easiest space. And I would say that I wasn't a victim, but that would also be me gaslighting, like the impacts of things that would happen.
Right.
You know?
Right.
In the areas of discovering myself. Imagine dating men and dating them on the side, but during the day, they're calling you the F word with other people, right? So then you mentally think to yourself like, ooh, well, they love me on this day, so this is how it got to be, and that's okay.
That's deep.
So I went through years of just kind of like taking that kind of abuse from relationships and with men, and never really being loved out loud.
Wow.
So I never really talk about relationships, but I feel like as I'm talking about myself and my life, that's a lot, and I went through a lot of that.
Wow. Do you think that, like, because we know a lot of it stems from like past childhood traumas, past things like that. Do you think some of that came from that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that it did. I think it did come from that, but I also, it came from that. And I think that I found myself kind of pushing it to the side and also internalizing that. And as we're discussing this, that is a big piece of my journey of keeping that and thinking that I'm not deserving of this, or people can treat me this specific way, and I have to. It's okay. They probably love me. They got respect for me. Eventually, it's okay that they don't say it in front of other people.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow, I've never seen that perspective though, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it was in reality, it was really harmful to self, right?
Yeah.
But you know, I didn't start tapping into that till late, to that discovery till later.
That's excuse me, because it's like we have a couple LGBTQ. Don't give that. I'm getting all the letters.
You
together,
better get it right, because we're gonna be adding some soon.
Hey, no, bro. We were talking about the comedy.
Yeah.
Did Tony Roberts say the one who performed? Did he say the host, the missing pronoun?
Yeah, right. With the women in community.
Yeah, but,
that guy was good.
He was good. He was a good one. But no, real talk though, it's crazy because. So I grew up with my Uncle Ennis. So me and my grandma came over from Texas, right? When I was super young.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? And my Uncle Ennis came out. Everybody started following my grandma. You know, that's why I had a super affinity for grandmas, because like I love my grandma, like
right.
You know? And so my Uncle Ennis, he was gay. He's really my cousin, but I call him uncle just out of respect, right?
Yeah.
And so growing up, I didn't know. Like I didn't really see, I just knew he acted like my mom would act, you know, and they used to turn up and go kick it and everything. I remember one time, it was funny because I got into it with some dude somewhere, you know, and he was like, nigga, I'll put these girl hands down and put these man hands up, right? And I was like, what is he talking about? But like, I loved him to death, bro. Yeah. And I never knew that. So as I got older, you feel me, and started seeing like the challenge of like gay men, you know what I mean, walking around, and I'm like, damn, like, should I had a gay cousin? Like, you know what I mean? And it was nothing that was ever, my grandma always taught me not to be ashamed to talk about my cousin, my uncle, you know what I mean? And so when I seen it, now it's like way more accepted, of course, but like when I seen it, I was like, it doesn't seem, I don't see it. It's not, you know what I mean?
You don't see it because you know, you remember, but just know like how much they had to fight.
Right. I didn't think about that.
How much of us ourselves we have to hide, right? Or water down,
right,
to fit in. And it just wasn't like in school or with folks. Like this shit comes from church, right?
And Are we ready to talk about it?
You know what I mean? No, but it comes from a lot of it comes from a lot of church, and you know, and church hurt and community. And I went through a lot of that. I was in church faithfully. Shout out to New Hope.
Come on,
you know,
New Hope.
Yeah, I went to New Hope. And I remember, like, and I went through a lot of like not thinking that God could. And this is another thing, right? So as I'm talking about the men, right, that I dated, and like they would tease me, and then in the back,
and then back in.
But keep in mind, the same shit was happening in church, right? Of community people saying, "Yeah, be a part of all of these things."
Yeah.
But all in all, but I want to talk to you about sexuality. You're not going to go to hell. So God can't be for you either. So this is a repetitive cycle that I went through a lot throughout my life.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of community folks that identify as LGBTQIA or from the queer community feel the same way.
Let me ask you this. So now you're in community work, you know, you have a bunch of hats and you wear them all dope. Like you're not like the people that do everything and just do a little, you do everything and everything.
But it wasn't always like that.
That's what I was gonna say. How did you get it? Did that inspire you to get into the community stuff you did? Like, how did that? What was that?
You know what inspired me? I don't like. There were so many different things that happened in my life. So when I graduated from high school, I moved to Florida.
What high school?
Rainier Beach High School.
Oh God,
2004, 20 years right now. You know, it's that.
Big shout out to Garfield. No,
you can big shout out them all you want, but we know what it is. But you know, I graduated from high school and I knew for myself, I did not want to be here. Like I knew that once I felt like I needed to find my path. Yes. And I moved down to Florida. I went to school. I barely was in class.
Wow.
Because I mean, there was just a big discovery because, you know, growing up in Seattle, I could be Black in Rainier Beach and get teased about being gay, right? But then I go to Capitol Hill and then there's no access for Black folks. But there's a whole bunch of queer folks out there. But it was, and then keep in mind, and then I just gave you the interpretation about my love life and then about church. So the question is like, where do I fit? Right. So I moved to Florida and I am seeing Black queer people and I am just like, this is where I want to be. and I worked at a call center. I've worked a lot, but you know, I made some couple wrong turns.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, couple.
A battery that I got, that a charge that I received. Shout out to that person. But that I received, and it got me on probation, and I started. I don't want to say I was stealing. I'll call it professionally borrowing.
No.
I would go to one store,
and
then go back and forth. Right,
yeah, you know what I mean.
But you know, it got my ass locked up.
Yeah,
a couple of times, where I ended up doing 17 months off of 24 in a road prison, and that was it was a lot. But I also knew, like, you know, I did not want to be in Florida anymore. Like, Florida likes to lock you up. I'm doing the same things. I'm expecting different results, but doing the same things. And it was like, I do want to grow. And I'm not saying that I made like this big life altering change when I came back home briefly, but I did pick up something. I started doing stand-up comedy when I came back.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so I did.
No way.
You know, I'm a funny motherfucker.
You are a funny motherfucker. I can see you as a stand-up. I can see you as a comic now. Oh my God.
And honestly, how it happened was somebody was heckling one of my friends in the audience because my friend had on the skinny jeans, and this is 2011.
Oh,
so skinny jeans
cool.
wasn't really. It wasn't really cool. My friend had on the. That motherfucker could barely breathe in the pants. but the guy was heckling him in the audience, and it was like, you know, don't be talking to my friend like that. And before you know it, like, I just started ragging on the dude because the dude had on a scarf.
He said, "That's all."
I mean, you have on a
scarf. I got a scarf.
But I was ranking on his scarf, and shout out to Tony Bennett, who's in charge of Rainier Avenue Radio, who reached out to me and said, "I want you to enter this contest." And I said, "Man, mind you, I was 2 sheets in the wind. I was lit." And he was like, "I want you to start doing comedy. Do the comedy competition. It's 40 other comics." And I said, "Man, I'm not doing that."
Yeah.
The winner gets $500. And I said, "Tonight or tomorrow?"
Right.
You know, and I beat 40 other like talented comics and started my own. And then I went to go. So this is where it starts to turn, right? I went to Florida in 2013 for my mother's 50th birthday. Whole family there. And I stayed a little longer because some family stuff was happening. And I got tested, and I found out that I was positive. And being HIV positive, the first thing I thought about was plastic knives, plastic spoons, and plastic forks.
Oh, shit.
And I'll tell you why, because I have a cousin. His name is June. And when I used to go down there to visit, he would have his own cabinet. And he had plastic knives, plastic spoons, and plastic forks.
Right.
So the stigma, and of course he could have used any other space, but the stigma of HIV in community is so few and far between. So I was so scared, but I also knew this was at the very first moment that I knew I had to start taking care of myself. And it was scary because I was like, well, I can't live in Florida because Florida's healthcare is messed up.
Yeah.
I'm scared to move back to Seattle because all my friends are nurses and everybody will find out and all these things. So I moved to Philadelphia.
Wow.
And I moved to Philadelphia. Shout out to Philadelphia Fight, and did some training there. And that was good. That was good. I picked up a habit, but we'll talk about that in a second. But I did that, and then that's when I came back home. And I still was struggling with some things, but I ended up finally getting into the work at Pocan.
Oh, okay. I heard about Pocan.
So and so that's the gist of how I got started in that. And a lot of the work from Pocan, also known as People Color, formerly known as the People Color Against AIDS Network, I was able to just start navigating community members that were impacted by substance use, homelessness, health disparities in community. And it just turned into what I love so much about Pocan, and I'll give them a huge shout out, is that, you know, they really helped me start looking at the needs of community members in each pocket.
Come on.
Instead of just health disparities. It's like that in housing, that housing and substance use. What they mama doing, that substance use and you know what I mean? So it was so many different pockets, and I love that space because honestly, I still was someone that was just learning, right? Little to no training. I had some training, but not all the way. But I was doing it. I remember just going up to the courthouse. I went up to the courthouse to speak to the jail release planner, scheduled a meeting, and said, "Look, I need to be contracted. We need to do some work. I want to navigate people. That's what I want to do." And they were like, "Oh, who do you work for?" And I remember I was the only person there with like a jail pass to go just in there to go visit people, help navigate them to programs.
That's from you just going and saying, "I want to do this."
And saying it.
That's good.
Just going and saying it.
That's dope.
Because I seen a need, because I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been locked up.
Yeah.
I need that resource.
Come on.
And and I wanted to just be a stronger voice. I was having friends that were getting caught up in federal cases, and I'm like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
I want, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
So I did that. I did that for 2 years. And some great things happened in between. So
okay, so all right, you did Polk-Cam for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I want to skip past. I want to go to the addiction part.
Okay, we can get there.
We can get there.
So 2019, before I left Polk-Cam, I ended up going to, because I was doing the jail advocacy, I went to my first ever NAACP meeting. And I was just so excited, like, "Ooh, Martin Luther King."
Yeah, right.
It's gonna be good. We're gonna go in there. We're gonna start organizing, do some Denzel Washington shit, and it's gonna be good, right?
Yes.
So I go into this space, and they're talking about their calls to action for the year, and they just leave out a group of Black people, right? And I remember being so mad. I raised my hand, and and one of my friends was sitting by me, was like, "Don't do it." And I said, "I'm gonna do it." And I raised my hand, and I respectfully cussed them out. And anybody who knows me knows that I'm not respectfully cussing nobody out. I'm just gonna go there. But my concern was like, there's so many times in community where we are talking about the call to action to Black people. We're talking about equity in community. We're talking about liberation.
Right.
And we're leaving queer people out.
Right.
And, it is such a hurtful thing when you are a part of all of these things and so supportive. And it's like, I feel like I have to mute myself. And it's like, I did not move back home for any of these youth, for any of these elders, to feel like that they need to mute themselves. And I would be doing them a disservice of not speaking them in the room and asking you, like, what the hell are you doing for them?
Come on.
And in a group of 20 people, they didn't have an answer. And that's not to say that they didn't affirm, but they just didn't have an answer. And that also is a problem in anybody in leadership.
Yeah.
To me, right? And I remember the elder, shout out to Claude, he said, "Well, shit, we should just make you the LGBTQ chair."
Come on.
And and I just just bypassed it, was doing the things, and the president at the time brought me in the office and said, like, "We want you to be the LGBTQ chair." And I'm like, "Okay, shit, what do I do?"
Right. I'm here.
Because and she was like, "No, you don't understand." She's like, "I want you to be the first. You'll be the first LGBTQ chair in NAACP history." Like in their 120, it was supposed to be 15, 16 history, that I'm the first. So as of August 2019, I Deontay, am the first LGBTQ.
Would you still hold that position?
Do I still hold that position?
Yeah.
I hold a different position within the NAACP, but not that one.
I never knew you was part of NAACP.
Yeah, I was. That's how, like, a lot of community folks, especially some who knew me from the hood and all of that, started to see me like, "Oh, well, wait a minute, nigga."
As many times I've been locked up, TA never told me his brother was in NAACP, bro.
Right.
I'm like, "Bro, listen, tell him to come get me out."
And I did that. I did that. And it was such a great experience. I learned a lot.
Right.
There were challenges. And keep in mind, I don't have like board etiquette.
Yeah.
If somebody's saying something, I'm gonna speak my mind. But I'm appreciative of like Carolyn Riley Payne, Claude, State Representative David Hackney, Denise Ransom, Jude Aberville, just to name a few folks, but Sade. Just to name a few folks, because we were really trying to make some stuff happen. Some things happen in the areas of the board, but I ain't talking about that today. But all in all, I did that, and then I ran. Then I ran for president the following year, and I lost by 25 votes, but not
You
to
ran
say it
for
don't.
president,
Yeah, I
though.
ran for president of the NAACP because I really wanted to just. I was feeling myself. I was feeling myself. Like it feels good. You know, people think, oh, people want to be everywhere. It's like, no, it feels good when you trust yourself.
Right.
It feels good that you believe that you can be able to lead community in a different way.
Right.
And it doesn't sound like everybody else. Of course, why wouldn't I run?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And this is me also running against elders in community. And Carolyn Riley Payne was super supportive because I was treating this like it was you would have thought it was on CNN. I was talking just like them folks do during the presidential debate because they doing this and they doing that. And I'm glad I lost, and I'm glad that I did too because I needed to grow. Right? You know, people think sometimes that losing means defeat. It's not. It's not. Sometimes it could just only be the beginning.
Come on. So, I remember when 50 Cent was talking about it. It's not going to happen when you want it. It's going to happen when you're ready.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like as I look back on like even Pro Se, and I'm like, there's times where I'm like, man, we just need this now. We need that. I'm like, if I'd have got that then, bro, like right. I wouldn't have been. You know what I mean? I'm looking in the future, probably a year from now, and be like, if I'd have got that then. I mean, right. That's the point of it, right?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Growth. So all right, so now we're Pocan, we're the freaking running for president in NAACP. I never knew you was part of NAACP.
There's so much more. You're about to
yeah. So then as you go forward after that, what happens next? And what's your mindset at this point? Like, where's your mindset?
Is my mindset?
Yeah.
My mindset for real, like it is. I was running off of joy because it felt good to come back home. Joy. Like I was so excited to be a part of everything, like the things that I was a part of. But also, this is the issue that I had.
Yeah.
And I love, and don't get it twisted, that's a life-changing position. But then it's like, oh, he's an LGBTQ chair. So with some Black folks in community, it's like, well, he can only talk about gay shit. Right?
We talked about
so it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was really, really hard. And I think that, you know, taking that position, it's like you have to be able to affirm for the intersections of community that do pertain to gun violence, that do pertain to substance use, that do pertain to homelessness, that do pertain to police accountability. Right. And I'm so grateful for the community folks that really helped me. Shout out to Rial Johnson and Sade Smith because they were really great community folks that really helped navigate me during that time. And, you know, during that time, it's 2020. So what was your question?
That's what I first thought. I was like, your mindset, you pretty much was like you was running on joy at that point in time, right?
I was.
And it's 2020. That's when I just got out. Yep, on house arrest and everything, right in the pandemic too. You know what's crazy is I remember we had a conversation. I was living in Seattle. I was in Lake City. That's around the time we had met. That was probably like my best self at that point. Well, not my best self, but it was like my, you have your purest moments, you know what I mean? But I remember having a conversation with you and you was like, don't let them put you in a box.
Yeah.
And I ran with that. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm not just Devontae the author. I'm not just Devontae the youth advocate. No, I'm not just Devontae this. Now I'm not just Devontae the ED. Yeah, I got a podcast. I've been running with that since you told me that, bro.
You cannot let them put you in a box. And then also, don't box yourself. Don't box yourself in.
Come on.
Because sometimes, as I said before, you start to internalize those
things,
right?
Yes.
And then when you go into these rooms, you mad at everybody.
Yeah.
But you know, you got to trust yourself.
Yes.
You let them box you in. So now what?
Yeah.
You got to pop out the box.
Pop out, right?
You gotta pop out the box.
Pop out the box, man. No, real sorry. I let it.
Yeah.
Bro,
but 2020 was a hard year for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Because,
let's get into that.
You know, the pandemic had happened and I relapsed. And what I didn't tell you within those stories, and then leave some shit out. Is that, you know, I dealt with methamphetamine addiction through injection use. And picking back up the habit, because I was clean when like within the first 6 months of me coming back home, I stayed clean and I was brushing with it every now and again. And it was just this escape.
Right.
That I didn't know exactly what it was, which I'll get to towards the end. But I dealt with that addiction and I would do this thing where, you know, I would relapse and tell everybody I'm fine and I'll be good for 6 months. And then something would happen to trigger that. And then I would go back and do it. And then I would be in all types of spaces. Like, I mean, it wouldn't be. It's just not in the space in my home and coming down and going through what you would call drug-induced psychosis.
Right.
So that means I've been up for days. Coming to my house, furniture moved around. I'm hearing shit in my house and going through it, you know, going through it. But the thing about it is, and when nobody could tell you, it's like, I never lied about it. Right. It was just like, where you at? Oh, I relapsed, but I'm good now. You know, and I kept doing that. And I was the chair of an organization. We ain't even gonna talk about that. Just gonna bypass them. But at the same time, I was struggling. And it wasn't up until that point. It was one of the worst years of my life, but it was one of the best because I started to build relationships with the people who I'm working with now.
Wow.
So, you know, working the people that I'm working with now, but it was a struggle. It was a long struggle up until about 2022.
Man, I'm so happy you brought that out because like they don't understand. Like I remember the rapper's name's Rhapsody, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, she said, she's like, you said, even even our heroes need somebody to look out for their back though, because under all that armor, they just women and men, bro. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, bro, 2020, like a lot of people don't really know. I started falling back. You know what I mean? Like I was like, it was like December and the relationship I was in was going to shit. You know what I mean? I was in between the jobs. I got hired for Live and Free, but I hadn't started yet. I had quit my job too early. So I'm broke. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this girl's stressing me. And I'm like, I got to pay rent, bro.
You stressing you too.
Yeah, I'm stressing me too. You know what I mean? I ain't see my kids because of this relationship I'm in. It's all kind of shit going on. And then it's like, I had to put out the books. So everybody's looking at this going. But I'm like, bro, I need some money, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I ended up going back to the streets for a minute, you know, tapping in a little, putting my foot out there. Talking to this girl I used to talk to back before I got locked up. You know, it's kind of business we talking about, right? You know, kind of business we talking about. You know, so that's how I was in Aurora. And I'm like, right. And then, but what stopped me at that one time, because I've fell back. You know, my big thing was alcohol. You know what I mean? I went back in dark times, even not too long ago. You feel me? As you know. But what stopped me is I was sitting there one day late night on Aurora, and I'm sitting there. There's a bunch of cats rolling around. You know, I just almost 6 years. I don't even know who's around now. You know,
who are these?
Who are these dudes? Like, who are these guys? You know what I mean? What are these guys? You know? And I'm sitting there like, I need to get a banger. So I'm going through my phone. I was calling some of the homies and tapping in with some of the homies, bro. And I'm like, I need to buy a gun. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Flashback 2015 when I went and got a hell of guns. I'm like, I need to get a gun. I said, bro, flashback 2008 when I seen a gun. Flashback 2005. Every time I needed to get a gun, I ended up in a bad situation. And I ended up calling. Big shout out to Candace, man, Mama Candace. You know, she was like my mentor when I was in prison, her and her husband. And I called her. I said, man, Ma, listen, I'm gonna fall back if somebody don't save me. I'm gonna go back. And she talked to me. She's like, listen, you're going too far. You're at this point right now where you can go backwards or you can go forward, but you have to make it through this piece, bro. I swear to God. And if it wasn't for her, tapping with Much, and then I talked to me and Marvin talked and everything. And I went and got one of the homegirls Instacart card like thing. I said, I'm not going. I let the girl alone. Got to Instacart, paid my rent, went about a month and a half of struggle. I think it was broke, bro. You know what I mean? But I made it through it, got hired for Live and Free, and started doing great things. You know what I mean? But we don't point those parts out for us, bro.
And the thing about it is, what's so interesting within community, sometimes it's like we sit in shame with those times, and we need to be more open and honest about those times because, you know, dealing with that addiction, like it was always great.
Right. It was
everybody else. You see me, I'm out, I'm doing the things.
Yeah.
But all in all, like, you know, I was not being the best person to myself.
Come on.
You know what I mean? I was doing great with the outer. Like if people needed things, I'll be able to show up. And I remember it was a group of people. It was three people who I still work with to this day. You know, Andre Franklin and the Brothers of Build.
Oh yeah. Big shout out to Bill, man. Bill 206.
Andre Franklin and the Brothers of Build, and Malika Lamont from Vocal Washington.
Come on.
As well as Ashley McGirt Adair.
Okay, big shout out. Yeah.
From from the Therapy Fund Foundation. I almost forgot Amari Salisbury and everybody.
Oh yeah. Amari's dope. He gave my first $400.
It's these four, those four folks and those entities really that helped me be able to be my most authentic self.
Wow.
When I was fucking up, I would tell them.
Come on.
When I was in a bad space, I would tell them. They would also affirm for me, like, hey, what can we do to support you?
Right.
What do we need to support you? I remember telling a group of brothers from one of those groups that I'm okay. It was like, nah, nigga, you ain't.
Right, come on.
You're slipping and it's gonna happen and you're gonna crash. And I crashed so bad. I remember my psychosis was so bad one night. I was driving, and this is where you have to watch who you're around, right? I was driving, and when I used, it didn't hit me, right? But when I was driving, it did. So then I'm seeing all types of shit, Scooby-Doo and all this other shit. I'm just like tripping out. So I'm on Military Road by that 7-Eleven.
Right.
And I get out of my car. I don't know where I dropped my keys. I call someone who was supposed to be like my brother, to come. He drove around. I seen his car driving around, but he had other people driving around just, come on, y'all, come see how high this nigga is. I'll never forget how that made me feel. Because all I wanted to do was I was tripping. Yeah, I was, but just to be exposed in that way, I don't know, but I would never put anybody in a space where they're in that space where I would protect them. And I'll never forget how unprotected I felt. But I also knew at that point in time, like, okay, what would it look like? At that point in time, I had to be honest with myself, but there was a big fear that was coming. What would it look like if I went to go take care of myself? I mean, I got a high school diploma, couple of certificates.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
If I go to treatment right now, and I know some people in our community know, but other folks, everyone will know about my addiction, and I'll lose everything. That was my biggest fear. And I'm so glad that I lead into that, because honestly, it really changed my life, because then I started to discover what it was that would make me use, right?
Come on, man.
The escape came from how little Deontay felt in church, how little Deontay felt in relationships, how little Deontay felt in high school, how little Deontay felt making poor choices in prison, to go to prison. And I've always just felt alone, right? And it's like, I need to authentically, the reason why I try to tap in so much with especially with the organizations that I work with, one, that's real, but I never want anyone to ever feel that alone. Right? So yeah.
No, that's deep, bro.
Yeah.
And I like it because I'm able to connect like things that you do with a backstory of who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, in one of my dark moments, you called me and I was in Houston or something. I was in Texas, bro. And I was ready to turn up. And it was dope because I'm like, oh, bro's calling me. And he was like, nah, you're having fun. He said, bro, but look, let me talk to you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
But it wasn't a talk to you like, in a negative space. It's just like, hey, brother, I got mad love for you.
Yeah.
And I want you to be the best person that you can be.
Yeah.
And I also want to let you know that this is happening. And I want to be able to support you do that, because we're so, and I'm speaking more so in the areas of Black folks. We are so quick to put our community people on blast with some of the shit that they do.
Yeah.
But don't set up systems in place to make sure that they're okay.
Right.
Especially community members that are coming from the lived experience.
Come on.
Right? And you know what I mean? Like real, like for real.
Yeah.
Like we are so quick to cancel our folks. But you see these white folks who end up doing the same exact shit that a Black person has done in these situations. You know what happens? They move them on to be an ED of another organization.
That part.
They put them in the space to build. But we are more prone to criticizing each other.
Yeah.
And throwing each other away. But I'm just not that.
Come on.
I want that person's a misfit. Oh, I want to fuck with them.
Come on.
Oh, you don't like that person? You think that person's just a negative person, negative energy? Well, I don't. I'm hoping that with my energy, it could be different.
Come on.
So I owe everything that I am to myself, but above all else, Vocal Washington, the Therapy Fund Foundation, Bill 206, and Converge. Because when I was at my lowest, and they could have all done.
Yes.
Right? They could have all just threw my little ass away.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But it's that type of love that they gave me that I'm gonna make sure that I try to pour into everybody when I come around.
So let's go into this, because you name everything you just named is like they're titans in the game. Like, you know what I mean? All those are titans in the game, bro. How does it feel, bro? Like having that much, like that responsibility on you when you walk around, like everybody, you go somewhere, most people can see you and know you. You're literally a public face. I see you everywhere.
Okay.
Everybody knows you.
Okay.
Like literally, I'm like, yeah, Deontay. Oh, I know Deontay. How the fuck you know Deontay? You know, how does that feel? How do you cope with that type of stuff?
I wouldn't really want to say cope, because it comes natural, because honest to God, like these people are like my family.
Come on.
Like it ain't we're just not there for the cameras and shit. Like Malika Lamont and I who's my director with Vocal, like we are really navigating impacted people.
Yeah.
We really, during 2020, we did some really dope stuff that ended up turning into a position, and working with her for the past 3 years has helped me get over my phobias to advocate for people on policy. And, you know, with the Therapy Fund Foundation, Ashley McGirt Adair is just coming up with that idea to get eliminate barriers for Black people to get therapy. That is monumental. You know, bro. And I mean, and she's my sister, like that. She's my sister. And the Bill brothers, like, how rewarding does it feel as a queer kid, as a queer guy in community, to go through that type of trauma, but find healing within a group of heterosexual brothers that are inclusive, that are coming to the different events to learn more on how to advocate for impacted communities such as LGBTQIA communities. There's nothing more rewarding than to be around.
And you move around like a boss too. Like, I put up in the hood one day. Remember, I put up in the hood over in front of community passageways. You was right there. I'm like, what the hell?
Because I'm out there.
Yeah, you be there.
I was out there, but I was also out there passing Narcan to our community.
Yeah, you was saying, come on. Like,
because they need it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, in reality, we look at housing right now, and it's bullshit. Because really, there are people who are just now moving to Seattle. And we got community members that have been dealing with homelessness from 23rd, that are on 23rd and 12th and Weller, that grew up in this area, whose grandma lost her house in the early 2000s. So he ain't got no home to go back to.
Yeah.
So I love going out there with Apple and Darnisha just to be able to provide a resource to community people, because shit, they are people. Shit.
Yeah, that part. You know, that's that. But you know what? I think that the part of community needs to be like reminded to everybody. Like, one thing I say, I remember, you know, I miss, like, I'm from Cherry, but I grew up in Yes Terrace Projects.
Yeah.
Right. The people that know me know. You know, I'm a Terrace baby. You know what I'm saying? And I used to miss how, one, you can get whooped by everybody in the motherfucking community.
Absolutely.
Everybody can whoop that ass. Every parent whoop your ass on your way home to get your ass whooped, right? I miss borrowing sugar. I miss, like, hey, come through, like, what I talk about when I do my speeches. I was like, people look at like the dope boys is bad, the females, it was like prostituting time is bad. I'm like, bro, I remember they used to come break my hair for free.
Right.
We couldn't afford it. I remember they used to give us dollars for bread.
Or our sisters will walk, our ladies of the night will walk past us and be like, y'all come in the store and come get some candy.
That part. I
ain't gonna call you out, but thank you.
Right. Hey, but thank you, man. I appreciate that. Like, you know what I mean? But that's community, though.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Like,
there was a safety net.
That's
there. And I think that, you know, with us kind of moving around further south, and shout out to Tacoma, but I'm just more so just saying the people that grew up in CD in the South End, our safety net is just kind of depleted away, right? And it's like, they can give us all the damn buildings. They can do all of those things. But I think a lot of, with the organization that I'm a part of and the work that you do, we just want to continue to try to be that safety net for community folks.
Real talk. And that's the purpose. Let me ask you this, man, because I feel like every year I don't say recreate yourself, because you just evolve more.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen you in the same place. I see you in the same place, like, fundamentally, of course.
Yeah.
What's to come next with you?
What is to come next? I think that there's some stuff that I'm working on right now. Well, in the next couple of weeks, there's the Pride March. that's happening
Okay.
at Seattle
Okay.
Pride. I'm doing the call to action statement right before Pride.
What?
So that is a big deal. That is a game changer for me.
Yeah.
Because for our Pride community members to be like, okay, let's prioritize this voice. And I'm speaking with other community. I'm speaking myself for 8 minutes. I get to speak for my community members that have lost, Black community members that have lost their lives to HIV. Some of them niggas that have the Black community members who have not even came out yet.
Wow.
Black community members who are just no longer here, who didn't even think that they could exist in a space,
right?
Where LGBTQ is, yes, affirmed, but sometimes, most of the time, this Black isn't, right?
Right.
So to be able to speak for those minutes is, for those 8 minutes right before Pride, is monumental to me. So it's that. I'm still working on We Live in Color, which is on Converge Media.
Yeah,
it's a show that highlights Black LGBTQ folks. I put a plethora of different events that I'm working on with Therapy Fund Foundation. We have our behavioral health conference that I'm hosting.
Oh, wow.
Navigating through that. The only Black behavioral health conference in the state. And the first one ever. So I'm doing that. With Vocal Washington, we are still doing work with impacted community members.
Come on.
It is the session's going to come up in September, so that's going to be candidate forums, but candidate forums with lived experience people facilitating.
Come on.
And I mean, those are some of the things that I'm doing, and I'm working with Apollonia Washington and Darnisha Bowman doing the public safety meetings. Doing the public safety meetings every month.
Okay.
Which is, so those are the things to look forward to. But I think all in all, there's going to be a one-man show coming next year. I'm going to go over the story of my life. And it's going to be good. So I'm excited about those things. And I'm doing some stuff with Build. There's many things that I'm doing. But in reality, I told you all of those things that have impacted me. And I hope that people understand, like, this is not a place where it's violins, right? These things impacted me. I impacted myself. I self-sabotaged. I built back up again. But in reality, if you heard, I just told you about how I grew up. And trust me, there is more things that happen that would tear somebody's ass up. But I am everything that I thought that I wasn't. It feels, it's me, right? It felt great to continue to overcome these traumas that have impacted my folks, but also be able to continue to be in every room, continue to try to learn how to grow and build and be better in community. There's some things that we're working on that we ain't gonna talk about, but on here, because ain't nobody else to steal our blueprint. But
hey, come on.
But I just want to just continue just to uplift community, continue to do it. People keep on asking me, you running for office? Hell no. I've been to too many bathhouses and too many parties to go. I'm just keeping it real. I ain't doing it. Right. But I just want to be able to just continue just to uplift community and just not stop.
Man, look, listen. Okay. There's a lot right there.
Okay.
There's hella right there, bro. Because I, like you say it with so much passion. And like I understand it and I get it, bro. And like I appreciate you, like even coming today, right?
Yeah.
Because this is dope. Like people don't understand. Well, people that know understand. Like around the world, like this is you're literally a huge. I look at you and talk about Apollonia, heard of her, like Keisha, Best, all them guys. Like I look at all you guys like in the same boat. I'm like, you guys are all titans, bro.
But you are titan. No. You are a titan. You are like, I want you to know, like, and I told you, don't let them box you in because I wanted you to continue to affirm yourself, because at the end of the day, what you're doing now is just going to get bigger and bigger, bigger and bigger, and just continue just to strive. You've been stepping out your box, the podcast.
Come on.
You went from doing that shit, doing videos in front of that dirty ass mirror. And now, you're right. but like affirming for yourself, right? You have to you're speaking this great life for community members into existence.
No,
and you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for kids.
Come on.
and it shows your growth since I met you. You're already doing dope things, but your growth, you keep pulling and striving for yourself. Like, no, nigga, we are all in the same. We are in the same area of leadership. We are all walking alongside each other. Nobody's walking ahead of nobody. But niggas walking ahead, they're actually behind.
Talk about it. You know, listen, I appreciate that. It comes a lot from you. Before we go, bro, I want you to, like, there's a young Deontay out there right now, man. What would you say to your younger self? What piece of advice, something you would tell yourself right now? Take a moment, you can think about it.
I'm nigga, you know, I gotta go to do the flashbacks.
Yep.
I would really just say to my younger self, you are loved. Love yourself. And you are going to be everything you thought you weren't.
Come on, bro.
Every F word that you were called, every heartbreak that you've ever received, every friendship that has been broken, every betrayal that you've faced, when those naysayers are talking down about who you are and where you're at, when you go through those psychoses because you felt alone, you are going to come out of that and be everything you thought you weren't.
Come on.
Your grandma prayed this on your life.
Come on.
How the hell could you lose?
Come on.
That's what the fuck I would say to my younger self.
Good. Tell the people where we could find you at, man. We could find you at.
Okay. Where I look? The camera.
I think this is the.
Well, hell, I'm just gonna look at you.
Look right here.
Look right here.
Good,
okay.
Good. Yeah.
There's plenty of places where you can find me at to look at voices of community activists and leaders. You can go to vocalwa.pda.org. To look at Build 206, you would go to build206.com. To get more information on eliminating barriers to Black healing, you can go to the therapyfundfoundation.org. And to learn more about We Live in Color and other shows on Converge Media, go to whereweconverge.com.
Come on, man.
And I think that's it. Shit.
Yeah, shit.
I got one of y'all. Shit.
Hey, or if not, just walk anywhere in Seattle, log on any social media platform, his face gonna pop up. Hey, Deontay, I appreciate you coming through. It's been hella dope, man.
Yeah.
And there's much love. I can't wait because we're gonna do a rebrought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. We're gonna see where we come from there, bro. Much love. Appreciate it.
Anything you need, brother. I appreciate it.
Always. It's been
happy Pride Month.
Hey, happy Pride Month, man. Happy Pride Month.
Yeah, we can do both.
Hey, we can do both, nigga.
Shit.
Hey, look, it's it's crazy. My guy Johannes came on. He's like, bro, we need to start bridging the gap between like the LGBTQ community and like even the hip hop community. Because he was like, bro, it's so lit. He's like, I go to so many places. It's so popping because it's another touch. LGBTQIA. My bad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Plus.
You know what I mean? And he was talking about that. So like, this is a step forward in that, bro. And I think that we both have some strong voices, and this is the start of what this should look like, bro.
Yeah.
Let's get this shit popping.
Absolutely.
All right, man. It's been another episode of Second Chance Podcast. We had a dope ass interview. I told you it's gonna be fun, like the funnest ever. Like, you know what I mean? We keep it raw, rugged. We gonna keep it lit, bro. Much love. Until next time, stay prolific. Let's go.